Hello everyone, I'm WisdomCube, and since it's the last day of May, and since it's the Loud House's 10th anniversary, I decided to give you guys one more theory video for the Loud House for this month. And today's theory is, how would I want the Loud House to end? Now, before getting into the theory, I just want to say that as much as I am a fan of the show, I think we can all agree that it's overstayed its welcome on Nickelodeon, right? And it's really showing, since the lack of character development, or rather, a character development almost being non-existent. Like, how many episodes do we see Lincoln and his family go through the same trials and have to learn like the same lessons over and over again? And speaking of that, there's also story arcs that don't go anywhere, at least in my opinion, and of course the inclusion of fantasy/sci-fi elements, beginning with the show's first movie. Yeah, I think we can all remember back in 2016 that when we were watching The Loud House for the first time, it was a slice of life show, right? I mean, yeah, the fantasy and sci-fi elements are cool and all, but we shouldn't forget the Loud House overall is a slice of life type of show. If we want to include those types of elements, have them be a factor in the slice of life theme. Like, don't forget the theme, you know? Honestly, it feels like the Loud House now is becoming like SpongeBob or the Fairly OddParents in its later seasons. And that's especially true when you get into the live action stuff. Like, for example, the SpongeBob movie, two of them, well, no, actually, like 3 of them had like live action elements to it, and the Fairly OddParents especially had the live action stuff in it. Especially when you remember the Fairly Odd movie trilogy starring Drake Bell. And when you factor in the really forgettable Fairly Odder series. Yeah. Now, for the Loud House, if you want to talk about live action, look no further than the really Loud House. You know, that live action TV series. Yeah. Does anyone remember that? No? Okay, let's move on. Sorry, I just had to get that out. Now, oh yeah, also take into consideration that if we want to go by production, The Loud House is in its 11th season, and mind you, season 10 hasn't concluded yet. And based on the research I have, this might be the 11th season, might be the last one of the show, due to its current writing team, a few of them at least, leaving Nickelodeon. So it could end, it could probably get renewed, but anyways, let's move on. Now, how would I write the show if it had a proper ending? Yeah, let's get into the theory, shall we? Because I wasted a few minutes of your time and I apologize. First and foremost, if I was tasked with writing this hypothetical series finale, you know, The Loud House, I would have it, first and foremost, I would have it be a movie. And I would title it The Loud House, The Loudest Epilogue. Sounds fitting, don't you think? Now, I would have this story take place, let's say, 10 years in the future, and the loud kids have all grown up and are either married or are now parents, or in some cases engaged and are preparing to be married. Now, I would have the loud children, they would probably have kids at this point, and I would have the story centered on them. And the next generation would want to learn about how their parents were in their youth. Now, if you guys probably remember, I did a video similar to this, stating how I believe the loud futures would be. And, this will probably take some elements from that, but I think the Louds would, I completely forgot to mention this, but, in this hypothetical future, the Loud family is returning to their old home in Royal Woods, and they're having a family reunion, and that's where the story would take place. It would be the Louds telling their grandkids / kids respectively, and it would be about their various adventures. And I wouldn't have this be just a standard clip show with flashbacks. I would have it be centered on each Loud story being centered on a specific theme, but I would have it be like a first-person perspective. Like, if you guys played any video games that featured a first-person point of view, like, let's say, Call of Duty, for example, I would have it be like that. Like, have the Louds basically tell their own stories to their family and have it be from a first-person perspective. Like, for example, how Rita and Lynch Sr.'s story would be, it would be like how they first met, and essentially how they went about their lives, being together, getting married, and having their 11 kids. Yeah, I know, if you guys seen the Loud House movie, we basically got this already, but it would be my own spin on it, you know, with that first-person perspective, where a majority of this movie, essentially, would be centered on basically telling the family and the audience their respective adventures, and they would spend a few minutes basically telling their respective stories. As I would have this movie be centered, have this movie be around about, let's say, an hour and 40 to 45 minutes. Or rather, have it be an hour and 50 minutes. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Now, Rita and Lynch Sr.'s story would be the starting point, and the next story would be Lori and her first date with Bobby. Then it would go to Lenny and how she discovered her talent with fashion, how Luna would discover her talent for music and her first concert. Yeah, it would basically like go from there. And I would even have a few of the side characters mention their own stories, like how Ronnie Ann and her family would recap their adventure to Mexico and basically stopping Akumo in the Casagrandes movie, and how Stella would explain her backstory before she moved to Royal Woods, and how I think, how Clyde was before he met Lincoln and became his best friend. It would all be from first person points of view. Now, how would this story and essentially the show in a whole end? I would have it end where Rita announces that she's pregnant with another child. Yes, a 12th Loud would be born. Now, I'm not going to spoil that, but I would leave the baby's gender up to all of you. And I would have, during the ending and the final scene, I would basically have the final scene announcing Rita's pregnancy. It would go to credits, and as those credits roll, it would be like a montage of the next 9 months before the baby is born. And as like the last final scene, I would have Lincoln and his family having another family reunion, and their kids would have grown up by now, and I think it would be like in their teenage years, and it will basically be Lincoln, his family, and their nieces and nephews, and their extended family, basically telling their stories to their newest member of their family. And the last line of this hypothetical series finale movie would be Lincoln telling the newest Loud of how, despite the challenges and how being in a family would drive any one of them insane, it would be up to them to persevere, and how the Louds as a family wouldn't trade it for the world. Whew, that was a lot. Okay, now that I've explained my hypothetical series finale for the Loud House, I want to know, what do you guys think? How do you guys want the Loud House to end? Would you have it be a movie like I've explained throughout this video? Or would you have it be like a regular, like 10 to 12 minute episode? Or would you have it be like a full length, like 30 to almost an hour special? Just comment below, let me know. I'm WisdomCube. I wish the Loud House happy 10th anniversary, and I'll see you all next time. As, oh man, I am exhausted with this month of videos. Anyways, I wish you all well, and goodbye.